Let me tell you something most traders do not want to hear. If you feel overwhelmed every time you trade, the problem usually isn't that you need more information. The problem is that your process is overloaded, your rules are unclear, and your brain is being asked to handle too much uncertainty at once. That is exactly why so many traders stay stuck in a cycle of hesitation, FOMO, emotional decisions, and break-even results. Inside PED, one of the first things I help traders do is simplify their process, reduce mental overload, and build a structure their brain can actually execute under pressure. Because until you rewire the way you trade, overwhelm will keep showing up in your execution. A lot of traders live in a constant state of overwhelm and don't even realize how much it's affecting their performance. They're staring at multiple charts, multiple indicators, multiple ideas, and multiple setups. One chart has moving averages, another has RSI and MACD, another has levels, fibs, or volume tools. They're trying to process everything at once, and every single trade becomes a mental battle. That is where overwhelm starts. The trader is no longer executing with clarity. They are reacting to noise. This is what it usually looks like in real time. Hesitation on valid setups, second-guessing entries, analysis paralysis, chasing after missed moves, forcing trades late, abandoning risk rules after a loss, overtrading out of frustration. I see this pattern all the time. The trader usually thinks the problem is strategy. They think they need a better setup, a better indicator, or a better market read. But the real issue is that their process is too scattered for their mind to execute consistently. They are trying to do too much at once. Too many strategies, too many variables, too many decisions. And when the market speeds up, the brain does what overwhelmed brains do. It defaults to emotion. That is when the FOMO kicks in. That is when revenge trading shows up. That is when traders break their rules and then wonder why they keep ending up in the same frustrating cycle. The account usually reflects the same pattern. Some wins, some losses, a lot of effort, a lot of stress, and very little real progress. That is not a knowledge problem. That is a structure problem. One of the biggest breakthroughs traders have inside PED is realizing that overwhelm is not random. It is predictable. Overwhelm happens when your process demands more from your brain than your structure can support. Most struggling traders aren't failing because they are lazy or incapable. They're failing because they are operating without enough clarity, enough repetition, and enough process control. They are constantly jumping from one idea to the next, looking for the holy grail instead of mastering one repeatable edge. That creates a dangerous loop. A strategy has a few losses. The trader loses confidence. They start looking for something new. They add more variables. Their decision-making gets worse. Their confidence drops even more. At that point, the issue is no longer technical. It is psychological and behavioral. Inside PED, we work to break that loop. I help traders stop trading like scattered generalists and start building the mindset and structure of a specialist. Because real consistency in trading doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing your process so clearly that execution becomes simpler, calmer, and more repeatable. That is where rewiring begins. If this sounds like you, if trading feels overwhelming, inconsistent, or mentally exhausting, that is exactly the kind of problem I help traders solve inside Precision Edge Discovery. PED is my 90-day coaching program designed to help traders build a personalized process, clean up execution, strengthen discipline, and eliminate the habits that are sabotaging their results. And right now, I do have open spots available for the next 90-day PED program. If you are serious about building a more professional trading structure and rewiring the way you trade, check the pinned link in the comments section for more information. Inside PED, the goal is not to throw more information at you. The goal is to reduce noise, tighten structure, and build rules your brain can actually follow under pressure. Here are 3 of the biggest shifts we make. Step 1, we simplify the process. The first thing we do is cut the noise. That means reducing unnecessary inputs, limiting the number of setups being traded, and removing the clutter that creates mental fatigue. Most traders don't need more variables. They need fewer decisions. When your chart is overloaded and your process is vague, your mind cannot stay calm. Simplicity is not a downgrade. It is what creates execution clarity. Step 2, we build non-negotiable rules. The next step is building a rule-based structure. That includes clear setup criteria, defined risk, trade limits, management rules, a journaling process, execution standards. This is where trading starts to shift from emotional reaction to structured performance. The trader no longer asks, "What do I feel like doing here?" Now the question becomes, does this meet my process or not? That is a completely different way to trade. Step 3. We train the mind through repetition and review. Rewiring doesn't happen because you watched one good video, it happens through repeated execution and honest review. That is why PED is built around feedback, accountability, and real execution work. We identify patterns, we tighten behaviors, we review mistakes objectively, we remove the habits that keep creating chaos. We identify patterns, we tighten behaviors, we review mistakes objectively, we remove the habits that keep creating chaos. Section 4. What changes? When a trader stops trading overwhelmed. When a trader starts operating with structure, a few things change almost immediately. The hesitation starts to drop. The constant mental noise gets quieter. They stop feeling like every trade is an emergency. They stop chasing every move. They stop treating the market like a place to react emotionally and start treating it like a place to execute professionally. That does not mean they never feel pressure again. It means they finally have a framework strong enough to hold up under pressure. This is the transformation PED is built around, not just helping traders find setups, but helping them build a process, mindset, and identity that can support consistent execution. Because if your brain is wired for chaos, no strategy will save you. But if your process is wired for clarity, discipline, and repetition, everything changes. The biggest mistake overwhelmed traders make is thinking they need more information. Most of the time, they don't. They need less noise, more structure, better rules, and a process they can actually trust under pressure. That is how you stop feeling overwhelmed when you trade. You do not fix it by doing more. You fix it by building a better framework. That is what PED is built to do. Trade with a plan, not a prediction. Trade smart.